skating rink made without ice. Mexico City's hot environment might seem like a poor spot for ice skating. Nevertheless, engineers constructed a special outdoor skating rink at the city's main plaza. Surprisingly, this skating rink is not made of ice. Rather, the engineers created the surface with high-density polymers which are similar to ice. The skating rink does not require water, electricity, or fuel to run. It does not melt, so people can enjoy ice skating outdoors all year long. Also, it is environmentally friendly. It saves 800 tons of carbon dioxide, 307 liters of gasoline, and enough energy to power 4,000 homes. The skating rink in Mexico City was only available until January 6th. In the future, however, the rink may allow people around the world to enjoy this winter activity.
Companies hit hard by coronavirus. Along with China and other countries, Korea has struggled with the coronavirus epidemic. Due to the global emergency, people are keeping away from crowded places in order to avoid being infected by the virus. This situation has had an impact on society in numerous ways. For example, most schools canceled their graduation and entrance ceremonies, which usually take place in January and February. Many students were robbed of the experience of wearing graduation caps and gowns and taking pictures with family and friends. The epidemic has also had a negative effect on businesses such as restaurants and cafes. Meanwhile, many moviegoers stopped going to theaters, and some film companies had to postpone their opening dates as a result. Large retailers and supermarkets also reported low sales numbers. Some companies and stores visited once by a carrier of the virus even underwent quarantine and had to temporarily shut down. On the other hand, some companies have seen their profits rise due to the unfortunate situation. More people are using online delivery services and online shopping malls in place of visiting brick-and-mortar stores. Also, rather than go to movie theaters, more people are subscribing to pay-per-view and online streaming services. However, the greatest growth was experienced by companies that produce masks and hand sanitizers. Most of these companies have had their products sell out during the month of January and February.
Promising solutions to plastic pollution. According to the World Economic Forum, about 8 billion kilograms of plastic makes its way into our oceans each year. Once there, the plastic breaks down into smaller particles and causes serious problems for marine environments and wildlife. Now, a crop of brilliant young inventors have created new technologies that could help reverse decades of plastic pollution. The Great Bubble Barrier. A Dutch startup founded by 3 young women has come up with a simple yet effective way to stop plastic waste from flowing into the sea. The idea behind the Great Bubble Barrier is straightforward. A long tube with many small holes is placed horizontally at the bottom of the canal. Then, compressed air is pumped into the tube, releasing a wall of small bubbles that float to the surface. The bubbles act as a barrier that keeps plastic waste in one place until it can be removed from the water. Removing microplastics. A team from Ireland designed a new method to remove microplastics. plastic particles less than 5 millimeters in diameter from water. Combining oil and magnetite powder, Fion Ferreira created a fluid that attracts and traps any microplastics it comes into contact with. Because the magnetite in the fluid is magnetic, it can be sucked out of the water using powerful magnets. As a reward for his hard work, Google recently awarded Ferreira a scholarship prize of 50 million won. Ocean Cleanup Interceptor. Boyan Slat, a 25-year-old Dutch inventor, has unveiled a new tool in the fight against plastic pollution. The Ocean Cleanup Interceptor is a solar-powered floating platform that collects plastic waste from rivers. It uses a floating barrier stretched across the river to guide plastic into its mouth. The plastic is then transported via conveyor belt into one of 6 dumpsters on board, which must be emptied every few days. So far, the interceptor has been deployed in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. U.S. celebrates Backwards Day. Eating dinner for breakfast may seem peculiar. So would greeting people with goodbye instead of hello. However, those unusual behaviors make sense in the United States on January 31st. That's because it is National Backwards Day. On this day, some people behave contrary to the norm in subtle ways. For example, you might play a game from finish to start. Similarly, you could wear a t-shirt backwards, sign your name in reverse, or tell a punchline before a joke. In the U.S., Backwards Day started in the 1960s, but it actually has roots in ancient cultures. For example, ancient Romans celebrated Saturnalia, a day when people reversed things, including some laws. Today, Backwards Day is still a minor holiday that will be unfamiliar to most people. Therefore, if you decide to celebrate it, be sure to tell others what you're doing first. Can a banana be art? Can a delicious piece of fruit be an artwork? And what happens when someone decides to eat it? These may be very odd questions, but they were actually asked and answered during an art show in the United States. The incident occurred at a major art gallery in Miami, Florida. A recent group exhibition there included an ordinary banana that was taped to the white wall of the gallery. It was not a snack that an employee was saving for later, however. Rather, it was an art installation titled The Comedian. The controversial artwork was created by an Italian artist named Maurizio Cattelan. This artist is famous for making shocking and irreverent artistic statements. In the past, he once presented a toilet made of 18-karat gold and called it art. In Miami, Cattelan's work again turned out to be the talk of the town. Surprisingly, an art collector even decided to buy the banana on the wall for $120,000. Some visitors to the gallery said that they loved the simple art piece. They said it was meant to be fun, crazy, and sarcastic. Other visitors, however, were offended by the comedian. They considered it to be an arrogant gesture by the conceptual artist. During the exhibition, yet another controversy occurred over the comedian. A performance artist from New York walked into the gallery and took the banana off the wall. While a shocked crowd watched, he proceeded to eat the expensive fruit. I love Maurizio Catalan's artwork, and I really love this installation, the performance artist wrote on social media. It's very delicious.
Rats learn to drive tiny cars. Recently, scientists in the United States taught rats to drive tiny cars. The cute experiment shed light on the animal's ability to learn and handle complex tasks. The project was organized by researchers at the University of Richmond. First, they built a small car out of a clear plastic container and wheels. Inside the vehicle, they put an aluminum floor and 3 copper bars that functioned as the car's steering wheel. An electric current passed through the steering wheel and aluminum floor, giving the car the ability to move forward. The rats were then trained to touch the 3 copper bars to change the car's direction. The researchers placed the rats and the cars in mazes with food rewards at different places. They observed how the animals performed in their vehicles. It turned out that the rats were pretty good drivers when they were sufficiently motivated. They successfully steered their vehicles through different paths in the maze. They also adapted to new steering patterns in order to find their food reward. What's more, learning to drive seemed to relax the rats. The researchers measured the levels of hormones in the rats by studying their feces. The scientists found that the rats had better ability to handle stress after they had undergone the experiments. In other words, the rats were becoming less stressed and more resilient after mastering difficult tasks. According to the researchers, this was similar to the satisfaction humans feel after learning a new skill. I believe rats are smarter than we perceive them to be, one researcher said. Scientists find world's loudest bird. In the wild, you can hear the cries of many different birds. However, there is one bird whose song is much louder than any other. Some U.S. biologists recently recorded the cries of the male white bellbird, which is found in the Amazon rainforest. Later, they measured the volume of the birdsong. The scientists found that the birdsongs of male white bellbirds average 125 decibels. That is as loud as a roaring jet engine. With the recording, the male white bellbird set a new record for being the loudest bird in the world. The previous record holder is the screaming piha, which clocked in at 116 decibels. The male white bellbirds use their loud bird songs to attract a mate. Apparently, female white bellbirds are smitten by the piercing cries. Ten-year-old burger put on display. In 2009, the fast food chain McDonald's closed all its restaurants in Iceland. Before that happened, Zortur Smarsson bought a hamburger and French fries from one of the restaurants. However, Smarsson kept the fast food set instead of eating it. He wanted to preserve the global franchise's last meal in Iceland. Also, I had heard that McDonald's foods never decompose, he said in an interview. I just wanted to see if it was true. The Icelandic man displays the burger and fries inside a glass cabinet. These days, Smartson even streams a live video of the food online. Amazingly, the burger and fries have not decomposed after 10 years. There is no sign of mold or decay. This is most likely because of the preservatives in the food. It really makes you think about what you are eating, said one viewer of the live video. AI interviews. These days, artificial intelligence, AI, has become a part of the hiring process. Companies are using AI programs to do the first interview with their candidates. If the candidates pass this first phase, they are then asked to come in for a second interview in person. Companies that use AI interviews say that they are convenient for everyone involved. For the company, AI programs can assess a large number of candidates easily and quickly. Meanwhile, many companies allow the applicants to take the AI interviews on their home computer. So, the candidates can be interviewed at their convenience. Also, the companies say that AI interviews are very objective. They consistently use the same standards and measurements when evaluating a candidate. So, the companies can be sure that they are comparing and contrasting different applicants in a fair manner. However, not everyone thinks that AI interviews should be used by companies. These naysayers argue that using AI programs is too impersonal. They say that interviews are not just about coldly assessing a candidate. It is also a means for potential employers and employees to get to know one another. So that important first impression should not be made by a computer, they say. What's more, these critics say that AI interviews may not be accurate. The AI programs operate by strict and unchanging rules to evaluate a person. Some candidates may then be able to practice to give all the right answers, which will then fool the AI program. Despite these misgivings, however, more and more companies are opting for AI interviews. Furthermore, a university in Korea even said it would use AI interviews in their application process starting in 2020.
African smartphone hits market. A technology company recently unveiled a new smartphone. Named the Mara phone, it is the first smartphone made in Africa. The phone was created by Mara Group, a Pan-African company. It makes almost all the parts for the phone in African countries and assembles them in Rwanda. The Mara phone has 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage. It also comes with a camera and a fingerprint sensor. At $160, the device is offered at an affordable price for many Africans. And although there are cheaper smartphones made by overseas companies, Mara Group hopes customers look past the price tag. Making smartphones in Africa shows we can become a leader in innovation, said one company representative. Also, it creates new jobs for the continent.